Good evening and welcome to Sunny Irabo Live. Well, tonight, as usual, we will just go into areas that we believe we can dive deep into the pressing issues that are confronting us in Nigeria today. I'm your host, Sunny Irabo, and I have tonight a very distinguished man of letters, of law, and he's a senior advocate of Nigeria, and he's the great man we call Femi Falana, Barrister Femi Falana. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. Sorry for you going through all that.
No problem. I can understand. I can understand.
Okay, we are looking alike tonight, aren't we?
Very good, very good.
The rule of law. Let's look at the rule of law in Nigeria. Because Nigeria seems to be going through, topsy-turvy situations. And you, as a senior advocate of Nigeria, I expect, should be able to direct us or teach us some more about the rule of law in Nigeria.
Well, simply defined, the rule of law is the rule by law. A government operates under the rule of law, and therefore is expected to rule by law. In other words, under the rule of law, there will be equality before the law.
Quality.
Equality before the law.
Equality, okay.
There will be certainty of the law. In other words, you can predict the law.
Yeah.
And if there are problems with any aspect of the law, you go for amendment.
Okay.
And of course, obedience to the law. You must comply with decisions of court. If you are dissatisfied with decisions of the court, you go on appeal.
You, as a senior advocate, you said a whole lot where on occasions where you did not and were not satisfied with the way the law was upheld. So what do you then say about that?
Now before that, let me just finish.
Okay.
The rule of law in a capitalist society is the law defined by members of the ruling class. And where you have a group of people in power who generally believes that they can operate above the law. Anarchy and chaos will be the order of the day. It was the late Lord Denny, an accomplished jurist under the British legal system, who said, no matter how high you are, the law is higher than you.
No matter how high
you are, the law is higher than you.
Okay.
In other words, you can be brought to justice wherever you are. In a society like our own, what I call a neo-colonial society like our own.
Sorry, let me take you back a little. When you say neo-colonial,
yeah.
What do you mean exactly? Because I hear it used all the time. It seems loosely used.
We had a colonial regime
that
lasted about 100 years. When the British colonial regime handed over power to the indigenous ruling class in 1960, the law did not change. The instrument of oppression did not change.
The colonial law did not change?
No. Whereas we had ordinances under the British colonial system. I mean, we now had, when the politicians took over in 1960, they simply changed ordinances to acts of parliament. Just like you change decrees to acts of parliament. And so it's a neo-colonial regime. It's a new form of colonialism. For instance, the British set up the armed forces and the police, essentially to extort money from our people, collect taxes, murder our people whenever they protested, and they killed many of them.
What did Nigerians do that took over from the colonialists?
They simply retained those structures of oppression. The police, the armed forces, other security agencies, without demilitarizing them without giving them a new form of ideology, as it were. So they thought, even though the white guys had left, they decided to protect the same interests, the interests of the ruling class. And so whenever the people protested, demanding for good governance, demanding for end of police brutality, the police will mow them down. And if the police cannot cope, you send the army to kill the people.
And all these years, no legal luminary like you, I know you're a young man at that time, no legal luminary acted to the point of saying, let's change the law in favor.
That is what some of us are saying every day. When people are charged with protesting against bad governance, when they are charged with treasonable felon or treason, we defend them. And we challenge the state for criminalizing protests, which is constitutionally guaranteed. The right to protest, the right to assemble, the right to freedom of expression. And we have decisions of courts to decide that Nigerians have the right to protest. In fact, under the law now, Section 83, subsection 4 of the Police Establishment Act 2020, during protest, the police shall provide adequate security.
But the judiciary is independent of the other arms of government, isn't it?
You see, under a presidential system of government, you have three arms of government.
Executive.
Independent of each other. Executive,
independent
legislature.
of each other.
Yeah, executive, legislature, and the judiciary.
Okay.
The Constitution requires them to be independent of each other, to be autonomous. Under the current political system, each of them is also entitled to enjoy financial autonomy. But what has happened since 1999 is that the executive branch has virtually made it impossible for the judiciary to function autonomously.
Well, how did they make it impossible? Because they didn't provide money for them or what?
The Constitution provides that the money earmarked for the judiciary shall be paid to the Nigerian Judicial Council at the federal level and at the state level to the heads of court.
Who pays?
Because it's the executive.
Yeah, okay.
Money from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. Just like the budget of the legislature is in the first line charge in order to guarantee their independence. So it is for the judiciary. But the executive has frustrated that. Hence,
does the executive have the power to do that? That's the question.
No.
So
there are not less than 4 cases in which the Federal High Court has ruled that the judiciary is entitled to independence, entitled to financial autonomy. But in an atmosphere of impunity, the relevant provisions of the Constitution are observed in their breach. And so, hence, for instance, Sonny, under the current political system, whenever you have a new government, after an election, a new government is constituted, vehicles are bought for ministers. Vehicles are bought for legislators.
By the same executive?
No, by the executive, by the legislature.
I see.
They budget,
the judiciary.
Yeah, they budget for their cars. But when it comes to the turn of the judiciary, judges are normally assembled by governors. to come and receive keys of cars. Sometimes those cars are being replaced after 8 or 10 years.
But that's anomalous.
Of course.
To the Constitution.
So, yes. And you want to give houses to judges. You assemble them.
Why is the judiciary not enforcing or insisting on the following of the Constitution? Why?
The judiciary has attempted. Judiciary staff have gone on strike regularly. The bar has repeatedly insisted that the judiciary be allowed to enjoy financial autonomy. The 2023 amendment of the Constitution reiterated the independence of the judiciary and the legislature, even at state levels.
So reiterated, and yet nothing was done.
No, nothing was done.
Okay.
We are now saying, with effect from 2025 Appropriation Act or budget, we should ensure that the relevant provisions of the Constitution that provides for judicial independence are actualized in the interest of political stability, in line with the provisions of the Constitution.
I mean, as you were speaking, I just remembered an issue concerning the 3 tiers of government, where you have the presidency or executive, yes, still the same executive.
Legislature.
The governorship, and then the local government.
Yes.
And for a long time, the local governments didn't have any say after the governorship. But suddenly, I think in the last 1 year or so, there's been some level of autonomy granted them. Is that correct?
No, a few months ago.
A few months ago, thank you. Okay.
The Supreme Court ruled that the local governments in the country constitute the 3rd tier of government.
Okay.
And that therefore, they're entitled to independence. And that in line with Section 7 of the Constitution, the system of the local government shall be by democratically elected councils. To that extent, no governor has the power to dissolve local government, elected local government, and replace them with caretaker committees or sole administrators. And the Supreme Court went further to say the monthly statutory allocations of local government shall be paid to them
directly. Okay, well, at this point, I'm just going to take a short break, and when we get back, we'll be demanding for the explanation of the rule of law. No, not the rule of law this time, freedom of speech. So we'll be right back with Barrister Femi Falana, SAN. Welcome back. Yes, this is Sonny Irabor Live, and I'm with Femi Falana, SAN. Before now, we're discussing the rule of law. At this point, Barrister, I would like to look at freedom of expression, freedom of speech. But the ordinary man, where does he stand in all of these hula-baloo about constitutional requirements, what is the dictation is, and all that?
Just before that, I think it's important to say the rule of law entails certain principles.
Can you expatiate these principles?
Legality, the law must be certain. The law must be predictable. In other words, if I'm going to carry out an action, I must know the position of the law. Must be separation of powers, which we discussed earlier. You must have an independent, impartial judiciary to be able to determine the rights of citizens or among citizens and the rights of citizens and government. And that the judiciary must be able to ensure that the powers of government are not absolute.
Did you see what happened in Korea
Yes.
just a few days ago?
Yes.
The president who called for some martial law.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the people turned against
No, yeah, yeah, yeah.
because they were quoting the law in the
Of
Constitution.
course.
That cannot happen here.
Why not? Why not? When you mobilize the people, and that is the duty of political parties. But here, political parties exist for election. And elections are badly conducted. Ghana just had an election, a presidential election. There was no restriction of movement. Everybody went to the post to cast their votes. And you went back to your office or your home. No carrying of ballot boxes. There were no saints.
Why is Nigeria so different?
Because of impunity. Those who should ensure there is rule of law behave as if they are not under the control of law. So instead of rule of law, we have rule of rulers.
I'll try not to laugh. Rule of rulers. And nobody can question them. Is that what
No,
you say?
they can be questioned. They're being questioned.
But they're not responding.
But you see, not everybody appreciates that we must have the government under control, under the control of the people, under the control of the Constitution. And that where officials of the government commit offenses, including breaches of the Constitution, they must be brought to book. And that is the only way. You can run a country on the basis of law.
Okay, let's go to the freedom of expression, freedom of speech.
Well, Section 39 of the Constitution and Article 9 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights Act guarantee the right of every citizen, everybody in Nigeria, to freedom of expression. But it is not an absolute right.
What do you mean, absolute right?
For instance, Sonny, my right ends where your own begins. In other words, I cannot take advantage of my right to freedom of speech.
If I express myself.
To malign you or defame you.
Okay, okay.
I can also not take advantage of my freedom of speech to go out there and incite people to violence. So there is a limit to every freedom guaranteed by the Constitution, be it right to personal liberty, right to fair hearing, right to property, right to freedom of association, and so on and so forth. All those rights are limited in the public interest. And if you are going to encroach on them, on any of them, you must do it in line with the stipulation of the Constitution.
There's a trending case that's going on now. Dele Farotimi, who was, well, alleged to have been abducted from Lagos to Ado-Ekiti and then held by the police. Then he was taken to court and then was detained.
I saw
bail denied.
I saw the video.
Yes.
And I want to say that he was arrested in Lagos.
He was what?
Arrested in Lagos.
In Lagos, yeah.
Only ordinary people are abducted. You don't abduct a lawyer.
Okay. Can you explain that better?
It's a class society.
Class society.
You know, when the EFCC wants to arrest a big man, when the police requires the attention of a big man, you write a letter, a polite letter. Kindly, you are hereby invited to our office, kindly be interviewed by the undersigned. And they put a phone number there.
Was that
And
done?
you can phone the police. You ask me to come on Monday. I'm otherwise engaged. Can we reschedule the appointment?
Okay.
Only big people in our country are entitled to such privilege. When the police, when they want to arrest a poor man or a poor woman, you invade the house and pounce on your subject. If you cannot find the suspect, you arrest a member of the family
And then the suspect
and
was
hold
killed.
them hostage. I mean, you hold him or her hostage.
Back to the
The
class
Constitution provides,
for that.
that the Constitution has prohibited arrest in lieu of a suspect or somebody in lieu of a suspect.
Constitution has prohibited.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
But the point I'm making,
Yeah.
Dele was arrested in Lagos
Yes.
because a judge in Ekiti was reported to have issued a bench warrant for his arrest in Lagos.
In Lagos.
Yes.
Why wasn't taken to Adwekiti?
It was alleged to have, or a report was lodged with the police in Ekiti. I have been taken to Abuja before. Under the military, we were abducted. Just captured in Lagos and taken to Abuja. Not once, not twice. We were charged there. We challenged the competence of our charges. And we're simply told, since you are within jurisdiction, the law can deal with you.
Just like that. So who is protected then?
Well, what is done is that if you want to challenge a bench warrant issued by any judge, you have the right to do that. Everybody is protected under the law. But once you are alleged to have committed an offense, or there is reasonable suspicion that you committed an offense, the law allows you to be arrested.
So in this case now,
Which case?
Dele Farotimi's matter, is he in detention? Has he been arrested? Is he in prison? What is he?
He was taken to Ekiti
Yeah.
and arraigned before a magistrate.
Arraigned, okay?
And the magistrate ordered his remand in a correctional center.
That's a new name for prison, right?
And adjourned the matter to Tuesday the 10th
In a few days.
to have a formal application for his bail argued. That is the position.
What do you have to say on matters like this?
On
Such an issue.
I cannot comment further on the matter because it is pending in court. Whatever I say may be prejudicial, and it will not be fair to preempt the magistrate.
Would that be a due process or not a due process?
That would be a breach of due process.
It's a breach of due process?
Yeah, once a matter is pending before a court.
Okay. No. My questioning you and you responding is a breach.
It will be a breach of due process if I begin to run commentary on a matter that is pending before a magistrate in a competent court of law.
I see. Okay. All right. I think let's go on because this matter gets me to the point where when experts like you analyze situations like this for us, then we are being taught, about a lot of things about the law. But then, where does the man who does not have the class, status, as you said, where lies his hope in issues like this?
Well,
Not a lawyer, is
again, and this is unfortunate. Nigerians are not taking advantage of the provisions of the law. to have
Which
lawyers,
Nigerians should take
to have
advantage.
lawyers to represent them. For instance, under the Administration of Criminal Justice Act at the federal level, and which shall be adopted by all the state governments in Nigeria. If a suspect is arrested by the police or any law enforcement agency, on getting to the station or the detention center, the police, at their own expense, shall contact his or her family members or next of kin to say to the fact that Mr. So and so or Mrs. So and so is in our custody.
You know, sometimes there's always the issue of contacting the relations.
Of course.
The police, does the police always do that?
No, it's not done. So people are looking for their loved ones. For instance, they may be in Ogba police station. Their family members may assume that maybe they had an accident, they are looking, visiting hospitals, or you may even feel they have been kidnapped. That's number one. Number two, what I'm saying is any Nigerian taken to a police station must demand to contact his or her family member or his lawyer. If you have no access to a lawyer, of course, you're entitled to contact your lawyer. If you have no access to a lawyer, if you don't have the means to engage the services of a lawyer, the government shall, the police shall contact the delegate council, if you so desire, to provide a lawyer for you at the expense of the government.
But it is said that in Dele's case, Dele Farotimi's case, I'm sorry, I'm bringing it back.
Yes.
The police even went to the extent, it is said, of ensuring that even his chambers, his law office, the staff there, their phones, their whatever, were all taken, seized, and they were almost incommunicado.
You see what the police do in Nigeria in a situation like that is to prevent you from communicating with.
Okay, I'm going to play a video for you to listen to.
Yes,
then maybe we'll hear your views on that.
Absolutely.
Let's hear that video.
Walked into what used to be his office. And whilst he was there, I was walking, and then I heard this commotion. I heard the commotion, and I opened my door, and I saw some men in jeans, and they had a vest, RRX, Rapid Response Squad, and they had guns. And one of them walked towards me and said, "Give me your phone." And I said, "Why do you want my phone?" And he said, "I'm going to shoot you, give me my phone." And he took my phone from me, and then I followed him, trying to inquire. Yes, he threatened to shoot me. Okay. So I walked towards him, inquiring, "Who are you? What?" And he said, then he raised his gun and said he was going to shoot me if I come near him. So I stood where I was, and then I saw them walk with Mr. Farotimi down through the lounge where we were standing, and then they went down.
Okay, you saw that video. What's your take on it?
You see, again, I told you earlier, a court in Ekiti had issued a bench warrant for Mr. Farotimi's arrest. What the police did was to execute the bench warrant.
Why such threats?
For instance, if I were in his shoes and I got information that a judge wherever has made an order for my arrest, I will take steps to challenge the order.
Okay.
And if the order has been properly made, I will rush to the court. Can I help you? Do you understand? Again, like I said, the matter has gone to court. I know Farotimi, if he believes that his rights were violated by the police, he will take it up.
But from the story told by the man, the lawyer, who was talking to the man in white, the man in suit was saying they demanded for his phone, and the RRS officer had a gun and threatened to shoot him if he came nearer to him. That sounds a bit out of line.
You see,
if you ask me.
Sonny, I'm always, again, I said, I'm very reluctant to speak on this matter. Because that is the allegation of the lawyer. You may need to talk to the policeman, including the RRS person.
Balance of information,
But
yes.
you see, as I'm talking to you now, there are 4 bloggers that have been held in custody in Lagos since September 4 or 5.
And not released.
For allegedly defaming the MD of a bank in Lagos.
What is defamation, and when does it become an issue of arrest and detention?
Again, that is a matter the court will have to sort out.
So,
when I reacted on this matter, it was to the fact that criminal defamation is no longer part of the criminal law of Lagos State. That is going to be the issue to be resolved in a case.
okay. We'll just take another break. So before we get to the final of this whole conversation, it's a very sensitive one, but very interesting. We'll be right back after the break, then we'll discuss some more on the rights of the individual. Yes, welcome back. A very special edition of Sunny Irabor Live when you have Femi Falana, SAN, as your guest. Right, you were trying to conclude some of your thoughts, as you were saying, but then I need to quickly let you know that we have a CCTV recording of that same invasion of Dele Farotimi's office. But you want to finish what you were saying before I ask for it to be played back? Or should we play it back right now?
No, I've seen it.
You say, okay, you have even seen it. All right, let's play it back. So let's hear your thoughts on it. Can you play back? Okay. Okay. Now, you saw that CCTV. You saw someone in uniform come to a table, draw the table, pick something, and went out. My assumption is that that could be the phone belonging to the lawyer that he alluded to. All right, so when you see all of these things in a country that is democratic and that has respect for the rule of law, what do you think of all of this? And then, of course, don't forget what you were going to say.
Again, I said, I don't want to be judgmental. Because I haven't carried out an investigation. I've not talked to anybody in respect of what you have just shown me.
That's unlike you. See, why haven't you carried out an investigation?
My position, because I get reports of arrests every day in this country. And I know what to look out for. But the point I'm making to you,
okay,
if I'm wanted by the court,
yes,
I will rush there. I won't allow my office to be invaded. Right? 2, an office has been invaded. The matter is in court. There is a limit to which you and I can run a commentary. I made the point earlier. So we must allow the court to do its job.
The problem with today's life and journalism is the way things, the technology.
No, you see, for us, you're a journalist, I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
I can be taken for contempt if I continue to run any commentary on the case in court.
But I have the right to
Whereas,
give the people the information they deserve to know.
But I'm giving it out. You and I are giving it as much as we can under the law.
All right. Now, what is the National
Judicial Council?
Judicial Council? What is it? What is that? What is their role? What is that all about, really? National Judicial
The
Council.
role of the National Judicial Council, essentially, is to manage the affairs of judges in Nigeria.
Manage the affairs of judges.
Yeah. Manage the budget of the judiciary, recommend candidates for appointment to either the president or the governor. I mean, those who want to become judges. Also, discipline judges, recommend their suspension or removal, those who have been found wanting.
So they do not interfere with the judgments.
No. The NGs only require judges to turn in their reports. Okay. Say, in a quarter, how many judgments that have been delivered.
Okay.
And if you fail to deliver a particular number of judgments, you may be sanctioned.
So the NJC is supposed to be some form, is that a form of regulatory authorization?
It's a regulatory body. Yeah.
But seems to have
It's
been
in
watered
charge of
down.
the affairs of the judiciary of the country.
Right.
It also protects the judges and recommends discipline for those who are found wanting.
Now, I'm trying to see said more things. In cases of judicial misconduct, how effective has the NJC been in holding erring judges accountable?
Now, I can tell you, and this will interest you, in Nigeria today, the NJC is the most effective body in terms of discipline members of the judiciary. And neither the executive, neither the executive nor the judiciary, nor the legislature, has such an effective body that can take on its own members that are alleged to have breached either the provisions of the law or violated the rights of parties before them. Investigate them, give those who make allegations the opportunity to present their case, allow the judges to also defend themselves, and then the agency will make appropriate recommendations.
Okay. Now, we have less than a minute to go, but I just want to ask you what your advice would be to the entire 3 steps or tripod: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. What do you advise them regarding the Constitution and the way the laws are
It's
upheld?
difficult for me to give advice. I'm not a special advisor. I would rather want to ask the Nigerian people to hold people in government accountable.
How?
Right now, there's an ongoing debate on new tax reforms. It's been a ding-dong affair between the legislature, or rather between the presidency and the governors. And of course, the matter is being debated in the National Assembly, in both houses of the National Assembly. The people must be factored into the discussion. The workers must make their position clear. Academics, even students, because the fate of Tech Fund is being discussed. Student loans is being discussed. VAT is being discussed. The business community must be part of the discussion. The Manufacturer Association of Nigeria must be part of the discussion. So you can't discuss the taxes of the country
In isolation.
in isolation of these vital sectors of the economy. And the government exists as far as the Constitution is concerned. The welfare and security of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. So if you are going to discuss, you want to have more money through taxation, the question is, what will the money be used for? Will it be like the case of removal of fuel subsidy that will lead to more money for the 3 tiers of government without any attempt to improve the quality of the life of every citizen in our country? Or are you increasing taxation so that we can abolish illiteracy in our country and promote the right to education of every citizen? Are we increasing taxation so that the right of health of every citizen will be guaranteed? Are we increasing taxation to improve social services in the country? Or we just want to increase taxes to have more money in the kitty for members of the government? These are the issues.
Very pertinent, thought-provoking questions from Femi Falana, SAN, and a very active, an activist of note, in fact, if I should say that, And thank you for the breakdown, simple breakdown of how we should understand the way the law is played.
Okay, very much.
And it's been Sonny Irabor live, and I hope you've enjoyed and really gained a lot of information from his perspective. And also, next week is another very topical issue. Very topical. We'll wait and see. Thank you again, and good night.
Thank you, my brother. Good night.